Hello, good morning, and welcome to this Dawn Busters Taste Challenge. We have two Kentucky Sour Mash straight bourbon whiskeys. All right, so they're both from Kentucky, and they're both sour mash, which is a distilling process, and they're straight. All right, you can take that a certain way. Bourbon whiskeys, so they have no coloring or flavoring added. And I try to shoot straight with you, and a I am a real straight shooter, if you know what I mean. Okay, here is Daviess County, introduced in 1936. I know that because I found the trademark data. It was the name Daviess County bourbon was first used in commerce in July 1936, and but not this particular version. They change up their stuff a lot. This is the 96 proof Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. I guess you call this their standard because they've got all kind of other like high proof, this kind of wood barrel aged, this kind of wood barrel aged. But this one's unique also because it uses a double mash bill, which probably use other bourbons, but it's a high rye mash bill aged at least 4 years and a high rye wheated bourbon aged at least 4 years, and they blend them together to make a single bourbon. And I know that's what they do because they have a Daviess County YouTube account and they talk about it. Their blend master talks about it. That's what they do with it. Okay, now here's the competitor, Stedman Select. I bought this at Walmart. I don't know if they still carry this. They might have cut it, but I'm not actively searching for it since I have this huge bottle with a lot left. But I did buy it at cut it, but I'm not actively searching for it since I have this huge bottle with a lot left. But I did buy it at Walmart about 2018, right when it first hit the market. I bought it. It might have been 2019, 4 years ago, but it hit the market in 2018. Yes, I did the trademark data research. There's no website for this, so you couldn't look it up on that. Although most companies don't bother giving you a history of the products on their website. Some companies do a great job of that. People like, I'll point out a company, St. Arnold Brewing Company, Houston, Texas. They give you the exact recipe. Well, maybe not. They're not going to give away their trade secrets, but they give away the ingredients of each product. They tell you, come on, focus. They'll tell you when it was introduced. They'll tell you if the name changed, because sometimes they'll change the name of the product. So they're very, very helpful. St. Arnold's very, very helpful. Now, their website is sort of old school, like people like to say, an old look, because it's mainly just text. The St. Arnold Brewing Company is just like something people typed. It's not a lot of interactive graphics and flames and videos and all that, because I think they're more interested in the product and like, here's what we do, here's the technical details. That's sort of like more in line with the way I like to do things. I mean, the graphics are nice and the high-tech modern look is wonderful, but when there's no details on the product, that's not so wonderful. Okay, I'd rather know about the product than have fancy circus tent stuff. Okay, you notice this bottle looks like a McAfee's Benchmark Old Number 7 bottle handle, although the McAfee's handle is plastic. This one's glass. It's a little higher hat product. Well, you say, "Ooh, I've never heard of IWA Distillers." Yeah, I'm sure you haven't. It's an alias for anyone want to guess? Yeah, Buffalo Trace. Okay, why do they use these alias names? I really don't know, unless they're just trying to flood the market with bourbons and they don't want it to seem like there's Buffalo Trace overkill. That would be a real good guess. So they come out with all these different, like I say, alias names, like Stephen King did. He used to write so many novels and he was flooding the market with all of his books. He was like, man, people are going to get tired of seeing the name Stephen King, or maybe I'll write a novel that people find aggravating to like not fit my style. So he would issue novels under alias names. And I think other writers do that too. Okay, the Stedman's Legend. Okay, same old story. These distilling companies adopt some name from an obscure person back in distilling history, and they'll use it and make it seem like the thing's been around since 1783. This goes back to the 1790s. Ebenezer Hiram Stedman. This is age 3 years, by the way. Oh, yeah, let me update that information. And I'm about to get into it with some people on, unless they back off. Now, if they back down and they use good judgment, we won't get into it. But they got a Facebook group that's beer group. A lot of fat beer drinkers on there. I shouldn't say that, but they are, But not me. I'm not. But yeah, no age statement. Let me put that. No age statement. No age. But they had something really offensive on there today. And I'm not an uptight person too much, I'm the one that usually offends people just by beliefs, not say put salacious stuff on the internet. But yeah, age 3. But this was really over the top. So even the name of the group is questionable. Like I had problems with just the group's name. I was like, I don't know if I want to be in this. But after this, I was like, oh man, this is really bad. So I just started removing all my content. I started looking up my name and then like deleting everything. And I was listed as a top contributor. I got a badge. Some people be trying to get a badge. I got a badge. I got another badge on Beer Advocate. Big deal. I'm a poobah on Beer Advocate. That means the top badge earner. Does that help me in my life? It's all just a game that they play. How the social media companies work. It's a psychological manipulation. They do that so that you'll engage more, you'll participate more, and then you look at more ads for their sponsors who sponsored their social media platform. And therefore they get more revenues. And if you click on it, I'm sure it really goes up. That's why they like, you get likes. You can like it and people like you because that's, they know people like to be be validated, like, oh, people like me. It's, of course, people want to fit in, and be accepted. So kind of preys on that kind of thinking. And people want to earn something, so they'll say, you got a badge. We haven't really earned anything meaningful. But so that's how that works, and it's like if you're in a service organization, they'll say, oh, you're the member of the month. And that's good because, you want people to participate, common sense. Some people join groups and do nothing to help. But you know how that works. You usually be the same people every time, the same 12 people. They just get member of the month every month, and then the next year it goes around, it's the same people, because usually if you have an organization like that, the answer. You got 90% of the work being done by 10% of the members. And I've gotten now this Stedman Select, is it that? Yeah. Am I looking at that right? Yeah, Stedman Select a little bit lighter, but I mean just a little bit. So 86 proof versus 96 proof. So a 10% proof difference, meaning 5% alcohol difference. Is it going to make a difference? This camera here. I suppose it might. More than likely it will. Yeah, and then these organizations will drive you nuts trying to get you to recruit more people. We need more members. We need more members. It's like, what have you accomplished if you recruit a bunch of people You know what I mean? If you got a high pressure salespeople to join your group, I'm not talking about a Facebook group. I'm talking about a real organization. You know, like just think of one. You know, the Rotary Club or the Lions Club or so forth. You got to hammer them and bend their arm to pay that $40 a year membership or whatever it is. You think they're going to really be active? I mean, one of them might catch fire and start doing stuff because they didn't realize what they were missing. Like, oh, this is pretty fun, man. I could do a lot of good here and have camaraderie, and my family can go to picnics and stuff like that. But then 99 out of 100 times, what's going to happen? They're going to sign up and join just to get you off their back. They'll pay the dues 1 year and then never show up to any meetings and never do anything, and they're not going to come back. So, you know, we got to recruit. And every group I ever joined, which is mainly two main ones, they just drive you crazy with that. But they don't really drive me crazy because I'll just be like, okay. So I did do a job for the first group. I was a team recruiter for years when they had that position, team recruiter. And then that was my job, to call people on the phone, harass the hell out of them, you know what I'm saying? And, but I didn't really do that. I'm not a high pressure person too much. I just say, oh, you showed interest in the group. You gave your name and number over there at the gun show in Kenner, Louisiana. I was just calling a follow up to see if you want to join. And sometimes they would. Yeah. I'm not saying they would do anything, be a real good member, but they would join, you know. And then sometimes they would just say no. Maybe they changed their mind. They signed a little thing. And one guy told me, he was smart aleck. He says, call me back August 11th next year. So, okay. So I wrote down in my book, call back August 11th next year. But y'all know how I am. The next year on August 11th, I called that guy. I said, I'm calling you back. You told me to call you back on this date to join, talk about joining the group. And he was like, why are you calling me? I said, well, you told me to. He hung up. And I was like, you were playing with the wrong cat. You know, you had the right ta-ta, but the wrong ho-ho. Okay, so, you know, I was meticulous about those type of things. But getting back to this other group, I knew there's going to be trouble. There might not be, because maybe the guy that runs the group has got enough sense. He does work at a big refinery. I think he has an important position over there, that he'll just delete it. And, you know, you don't have to apologize to me. You could just kill it. The unwise approach would be to press the issue, because I'm not backing down. I don't back down. I mean, if I'm wrong, I will, but not on something like that. No one wants a war, but we'll have one if they'd like. All right. Anyway, because I know how these people are. They'll be like, you're just uptight. You know, who cares if it's insulting Christianity? You know, you're just uptight. I'll say, yeah, well, I'm going to post some Jew jokes, man. Let's do that. Ha ha. Oh, no. The mood will change on a dime then, right? You know, and I'm not saying you should be bigoted and post things like that. I'm using that as a obvious logical progression of the argument. The same people that would claim that that's fine and you need to chill and take a chill pill, if you flip the script on them, they would become extremely uncomfortable. And I've always had a little problem with, you know, using logic in an argument, which baffles many people. And maybe especially people that have a tendency to drink a lot all the time. So, yeah, well, anyway, now let's go on to this. But you may see a showdown later, and I don't care. All right. And sometimes they'll really show you. They'll be like, I'll show you. I'll unfriend you on Facebook. And I'm like, oh, that shows that that's telling me that you're an important man. You're an important man when you do that. It's good to be an important man, to show everybody. All right. But you got a lot of funny bunnies and silly billies out there, Okay. Oh, I tell you what, these things really do have that sour mash character, and I know a lot of people are going to say, well, sour mash is just a technique. It doesn't really change the character of the bourbon. And my attitude is it really does. Does it change it in a profound way? I don't know about profound, but I think it's important because it takes on that, like, it's almost like a mushy sourdough bagel um, profile. Now, I always do point and counterpoint. So your counterpoint could be, yeah, but how do you truly know that unless you did two bourbons and you didn't know which one was sour mash, like sour mash, and then bourbon B would be non-sour mash, and you did blind taste tests. And if you couldn't tell them apart or you didn't notice which one had the character, then might invalidate your point. And it would. I mean, not after one session. That you want to establish reliability, so maybe you would want to do that exercise 10 times. Now, if you did it 10 times and 9 out of 10 times you couldn't tell, okay, maybe then it doesn't really impart a sour mash, sourdough bagel character. But my thinking is that it does. I'm not going to do the exercise because I have neither the time. Well, I probably could make the time, but B, certainly I don't have that much interest in proving that point. Okay. I actually have virtually no interest in proving that point, but all right. No, I mean, and away we go. But I've known so many people they do not follow the sermons that they preach. A woman at work, I said, this guy, I got problems with him, but I don't feel comfortable with just being all chummy with him because of all the trouble in the past that he made, And she's like, oh, you just have to live and let live. If you have trouble with somebody, you just have to forgive them and get over it and be friends. I was like, okay. And I tried that, and then it worked out. Now we get along really great. But then I upset her later, and she can't stand it. If I tell her good morning, she's like, hey. She's like, can't stand to look at me. And I'm like, It's funny how you can tell other people what they need to do, but yet you won't do it. And that's, to me, not a good characteristic, personal characteristic. Okay. I called her on it, though. I told her one time, I said, remember you told me that story? We need to get over things and let it go and be friends. She said, yeah, and it's working out for y'all, isn't it? She knew what I was talking about. She knew I was directing it at her, and she was trying to be, avoidant, perhaps, or maybe she really does think I don't have sense. And I know I play that character that, howdy, how y'all doing? I'm in Louisiana and doing beer reviews and all. And I play that kind of Jethro character. And people interpret that as a realistic, like they'll be like, this guy's really one of these Southern guys. He's like a Southern guy, meaning they don't think he's got too much brains. And so and sometimes they'll tell me things directly that they think I don't get, and I'm like, oh man, let me go get my overalls on. Don't know what you're talking about. And I'll just think to myself, you really think I don't get that? You don't see that's an act? You're the smart person because you're from New York. I am from New York, the Empire State. But you don't see that that's an act. It's an obvious act, but you don't see that. Okay. So be it. You said, well, you mean it's like a persona? It's sort of like a persona, yeah. Like, well, we'll talk about Carl Jung later. Yeah, we'll go to Switzerland. But anyway, I think the proof is a little different here. These are close. Now I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm gonna say that without even taking a guess. I can tell you clearly now that the Stedman Select is a better value. Now, my friend David would be offended and upset. He would be like, "Oh man, you know the Daviess County is way better," and so forth. I would say, "Yeah, well, no, you know that. I don't know that." I like this tech. I love this tactile finish. It's like really fine grain sandpaper. It's like the finest grain sandpaper ever. And then there's like filigree here, like you can feel it, like almost like braille, you know. They did a great job on the label. I know it's sort of mimicking Evan Williams. I get that with the black, the gold, and the white, and it's 86 proof over here. Sour mash. I know what they're doing, but oh wait, actually, the black label Evan Williams does not say sour mash. It's the green label, which look like most people can't get. But what I mean here is, you pay $19.50. I pay $19.59 now for this handle, glass, not plastic. They could have gone cheap, and many times they do. But this one they went glass, and $19.59. And this is Kentucky Straight Bourbon. It's sour mash, and it's aged a year longer than it is required for straight bourbon. And look at that price. So I'm not saying it's better than the Daviess County. I'm not declaring that. I'm saying that it's definitely not worse. And the Daviess County is 38. And somebody told me, well, I looked it up in my neighborhood. It was 40 something, 40.99. But you're going to probably pay at least $38.99. And he said $40.99. But I paid $14.99 because I got it at Mathern's, who had a super discount sale. So I can't complain about that. I mean, who in the world would? Was Daviess County on my to buy list? No. Nope. I mean, Ezra Brooks is, because that's such a common product. I like to cover the common products first before I start delving into the niche things. Because you get more engagement, like more people going to comment and be interested in Evan Williams than Daviess County. No knock against Daviess County, but it's just a fact. You know, they're going to get more people talk. Like I probably had, look at like, say, like Rolling Rock beer. I've had 1,001 comments from Rolling Rock versus like super luxurious Imperial IPA, which is a lot better in flavor than Rolling Rock, I find, in character and body and overall enjoyment. But it's just the nature of the game. Common sense. You talk about two movies. What's going to get more engagement, Star Wars or the effect of gamma rays on Man in the Moon marigolds? The second one I named is probably a lot better than Star Wars, but more people are interested in Star Wars, which is sort of like a space adventure version of a Bing Crosby, Bob Hope road movie, which are also enjoyable. Star Wars is a very enjoyable Bing Crosby, Bob Hope road movie. Okay. Man, you can really pick up that charred oak. It's so woody. Charred oak is like to the front. They did a great job, but then Buffalo Trace tends to do that. Assuming that's Buffalo Trace. No, I think that's the Daviess County. Daviess County. Because I think that the Ebenezer Hiram Stedman Select, that's the full name, I guess, right? Hiram Ebenezer Stedman Select. I think it's got a little more sweetness to it. And it's sort of like that Buffalo Trace house style. What is Buffalo Trace house style? It's something to do with the yeast. It's like you don't know how to describe it, but when you taste it, you know you're tasting it. Like, think about it. Just think about it. Think about it for a minute. Benchmark, McAfee's Benchmark, old number 8. Old Charter. Buffalo Trace bourbon, the regular one. Eagle Rare. Very Old Barton. I've had those. You notice they got like that common taste. It's like when you drink a Miller Brewing Company beer. They all kind of taste the same. I don't mean they taste the same. I said they all kind of taste the same. It's like a house stop. It's like a Stanley Kubrick film. They all have a similarity. I'm not a movie expert, so I can't really tell what that means. But if you watch Doctor Strangelove and 2001: A Space Odyssey and The Shining and Full Metal Jacket and so forth, just watch. They'll progress the same way. You know what I mean? And I don't even like movies. Okay, I'm going to call this the Buffalo Trace one. I'm sorry, International Wine Associates Distillers Company Limited. Somebody told me IWA means International Wine Associates, and I believe it. But anyhow, I think this is it. I got it. I knew it. It's just that taste. It's that taste. Which, like I say, I can't quite adequately describe. So, okay, all right. I'll grant it. I'll concede the point. The Daviess County is a little better. I mean, all things considered, the Daviess County is a better product. But on the other hand, the most important point in a way, let me turn the lamp off. I mean, these things have to be considered, especially in today's economy. And then, most people are not rolling in money, and they have debt problems, and they probably need to listen to Ken Ramsey more. But you know what I'm saying? They need to get out of debt. Tell you what, get out of debt. Your life will be a lot less stressful. I can tell you that, because I have experienced that for 18 straight years. Okay, but Daviess County. You could pay $38.99 for this, and it's very enjoyable. And you get a lot of value from it. But you can get a handle of this. You get 1,000 more milliliters, right? It's not twice the size. It's more than twice the size. And this is less than $20. Well, it was at the time of purchase. Now, I can't speak for now because we're talking about 2019, before the JB inflation. So, but that has to be considered. I mean, you're getting a really great bourbon. I mean, this thing is no joke. I mean, I know they don't have a website for it. I know it's semi-obscure. I know they're using an alias name because Buffalo Trace don't want to have their name on everything, and then they flood in the market, so to speak. But this can go toe to toe with all the standard 80 to 86 bourbons, though. I would say it's got more flavor than Jack Daniel's standard version. It has as much flavor as Evan Williams, more or less, even though that's a year longer aged. It's certainly not inferior to Jim Beam, and in fact, I would prefer it over Jim Beam. So yeah, this is a real nice thing. And I'm unanimous in that. All right, y'all take care, and see you around tomorrow, God willing, for another Dawn Busters Taste Challenge. More bourbon. Dawn Busters Taste Challenge.